Hi there, this is Dr. Beltran. Today we're talking about iodine. Iodine is a halogen found in the periodic table. It's very important for our body. It was discovered back in the early 1800s by a French doctor by the name of Jacques-Auguste Lugol. He was trying to find a way to be able to treat tuberculosis. And we discovered that iodine has very strong antimicrobial properties because it kills not only bacteria and fungi, but also viruses and also parasites. So it's used in surgery as an antiseptic in the operating room, okay? Iodine also is a substance that you can find it in your table salt. You know, it's salt needs iodine because it's essential. It's one of those essential elements for our body. We require iodine for all the glands in our body need iodine in order for those glands to function well, like our thyroid, breasts, in women, ovaries, the prostate in men. Many different glands around ourselves need iodine in order to be able to function and work well, okay? Iodine is important. Iodine also requires a cofactor for it to be able to be activated, and that is selenium. So whenever you're taking iodine, make sure you're also taking selenium, okay? There are different forms of iodine. We have inorganic and we have organic. The one that I'm talking about is inorganic iodine, all right? And this is the one that's safe for consumption, okay? One of the things that I always say is that, for instance, in some north in the United States and in Canada, one of the recommended daily allowance is of approximately around 150 to 250 micrograms of iodine per day, which is very, very low. I would never tell a patient to take that amount. That's not adequate for them. That's not enough. For instance, some countries in Asian countries, such as like Japan consumes around 5 to 12, 13 milligrams per day. And that's because they consume a lot of seaweed in their diet. And that seaweed is rich in iodine. And this is one of the reasons why that's one of the nations that has the lowest perimortality rate in the world, because they consume a lot of iodine. Iodine is very important for neuro development in children, for cognition, for IQ, for intelligence. Iodine is one of those elements that we need to be putting into our bodies, okay? So going back to what I was saying, in order to find out if we are iodine deficient or sufficient, one of the easiest ways to be able to do this is by putting a little bit of iodine on your hand or your forearm, and you just rub a little bit of it there and make a little square, and you just let it dry there. Usually if you are iodine deficient in about a couple of hours, your body's just going to suck that in and it's just going to start to fade away. Now if you're iodine sufficient and it's been there for more than 24 hours, that yellow stain, that little yellow orange stain still, it's a sign that you probably are iodine sufficient, okay? Now, there's another way to obviously be able to measure iodine in our body is by doing an iodine loading test, and that's by going to the lab and taking a little pill of Idurol, 50 milligrams. You take that orally, drink it with water, and you start doing a 24-hour urine test where you accumulate your urine, and after 24 hours, they measure the amount of iodine that's found in the urine. If you are iodine sufficient, you should have eliminated at least 95% of all that iodine that you took in. But if you're iodine deficient, our body's going to suck in that iodine, it's not going to let it out, and you're going to find much lower quantities or concentrations of iodine in that urine. And this is the way how we doctors quantify and know how severe the iodine deficiency is, okay? Anyway, so going back to what I was saying that iodine is very important for many endocrine glands. We're talking about the thyroid. The thyroid produces two hormones that are very well known as the T3, T4. T3, the reason why it's called T3 is because it has 3 molecules of iodine. T4 has 4 molecules of iodine. The thyroid, for instance, when it starts having iodine deficiency, one of the things that we can see through ultrasonography is the presence of cysts, okay? And if this deficiency isn't corrected, they can become eventually into nodules. And if this does not correct, eventually will become cancer. So iodine deficiency can lead to cancer on the long run. Same thing is for women, for instance, who have fibrocystic disease of the breast. Women who have a lot of pain, they palpate, they feel like a little lump, and they do an ultrasound, they find that there's a cyst or there might be a little adenoma, a fibroid in there that's causing a lot of pain, especially when they're using their bra. So that might be a sign that they have iodine deficiency. Another thing might be women who have, for instance, polycystic ovarian syndrome. These are patients who have issues with their menstrual cycle. It's irregular. Sometimes it doesn't come every 3 months, and they might have a little bit of acne as well, and have problems with fertility. That's a sign of iodine deficiency, okay? And in men, perhaps they might be having problems with the prostate, enlarged prostate. That's a sign of iodine deficiency. So whenever I see all of these things, you know, patients who have problems with their thyroid, with the breast, with the ovaries, with the prostate, on, is a sign of iodine deficiency, is a possible sign of iodine deficiency, okay? And here's the thing, when I recommend supplementation with iodine, it's important to recognize that iodine comes, the solution, Lugol solution that I was just mentioning a little bit ago, that was discovered by this French physician by the last name of Lugol. It has a concentration, it's called Lugol at 5% solution. You can buy this probably online. There's no need of a prescription for this. It's over the counter. It comes in a combination of elemental iodine at 5% associated with potassium iodide at 10%, and this is what this is all mixed together in distilled water, and this is what we call the Lugol solution, 5% Lugol solution. Okay, so you would be getting a 5% Lugol solution, putting 1 to 2 drops of this solution into 100 milliliters of water, and this you can go ahead and take that every day early in the morning. And sometimes one of the things that might be happening is that some people, not everybody, it just happens to very little people, but it may happen. This is the reason why I'm mentioning this, okay? They might have what we call a Herxheimer reaction, okay? Which is something that you should not be afraid of. It just simply means is that you're having a detox effect, because many halogens that we have, that we're exposed to in our lifetime, such as fluoride. Fluoride is found in your toothpaste. You brush your teeth with fluoride every single day. Fluoride is a halogen, and it competes for the receptors of iodine. And also, for instance, chlorine. Chlorine is found in your water. Bromide also, you know, I mean, we use that for so many things. And the thing is that these halogens, they compete for the same receptor. So throughout the years, if you have not been taking iodine or have not had an adequate diet that has enough amounts of iodine, you will have these receptors blocked by these different halogens that can be toxic for you. So when you start taking iodine, iodine is going to push these other halogens out of the iodine receptor, and these now start to circulate throughout your body, and they start going through your central nervous system, your skin, and different organs and everything. And you might feel a little bit of a headache, might get a little bit of a fever. Sometimes you might even show a little bit of a rash, and you get the sensation, oh my goodness, I'm having an iodine reaction. I'm allergic to iodine. And it's actually not even an allergy to iodine, but you're having a detox effect because of iodine, okay? And this is what we call the Herxheimer reaction, okay? That's something I wanted to mention. It does not happen with everybody. Sometimes it might happen with a couple of people, and I just wanted to give you a heads up because of this, okay? All right, so doing this, if you do this on a daily basis, if you take iodine every single day, 2 little drops, you know, of iodine in 100 milliliters of water, and you take it early in the morning, you start introducing adequate amounts of iodine that are going to eventually be transformed into a substance known as delta iodolactone. And this is a very important molecule, because it eventually, if you do have cancer, for instance, it gets absorbed by the cancer cell, and in the cancer cell, it induces what we call apoptosis. Apoptosis means programmed cellular death. It causes the cell to die. Now, there are articles that talk about this, and it's been proven. There's an article that's been written back in 2010. You guys can read on that. You know, I mean, it's nothing new. This is old news. Just some people just haven't heard of iodine for some reason, you know. So it's very important for cancer, okay? And like vitamin D, also the active form of vitamin D also has that effect of inducing apoptosis as well. So one of the things that I see in patients who do have cancer is that they're iodine deficient and vitamin D deficient. That's a common denominator, okay? And this is obviously a cause of one of the many, there are many reasons that causes cancer, right? It's a bad diet, you have an epigenetics, it's called your exposure to many different contaminants and throughout your lifespan. Stress, usually cancer has a history of some major important stressor in your life, you know, very characteristic, yeah? But one of the things that I always notice is that whenever I do laboratory checkup, I check for iodine and vitamin D levels, and it's always low, okay? So make sure that you're getting that iodine in there, you know. The recommended daily allowance is way too low. I would recommend using Lugol instead, okay? All right, everybody, I hope you guys like this video. If please give me a thumbs up and share it, all right? Until next time.